Leiden. I am an undergraduate student at Old Dominion University, who's likes to focus on ODU, and I'm going to be presenting a paper on college archives, specifically at Old Dominion University, and how it relates historically to the greater community at the time, and how it can encourage other people to look into queer organizations at colleges throughout their own colleges throughout history. The history of LGBTQ+ student organizations at Old Dominion University serves as an example of the significant, although often overlooked, experiences of resilience, advocacy, activism, opportunity, learning, and growth of queer student groups on college campuses throughout history. These student groups have played a crucial role in creating a safe and accepting space for LGBTQ+ students. The Old Dominion College chapter of the Tidewater Homophile Society was founded in 1968, a year before the Stonewall Riots. Though it is unclear what month the chapter was formed, it was approximately a year after the Student Homophile Society at Columbia University was formed, and therefore is likely among the first homophile societies on college campuses in the United States. In its first year, the Old Dominion College chapter of the Tidewater Homophile Society performed an unofficial wedding ceremony between two men. Surprisingly, the authors of an article in the Mason Crown, Old Dominion College's newspaper, wished the couple a happy marriage. The article talked about events that happened over the weekend and were hosted by student groups. It seemed to suggest that the writer either supported homosexuality or possibly was a part of the LGBTQ+ community themselves. The Old Dominion College Tidewater Homophile Society attended the 1968 Eastern Regional Homophile Conference. This suggests that there was a lot of community organizing to bring college and city-based homophile societies together to make strategic plans for how to increase gay acceptance in general. It is unclear when the Old Dominion College Homophile Society disbanded, and little else was documented about the group. This organization was around during a time when gay and lesbian rights were just starting to be discussed by the general public. The Old Dominion College chapter of the Tidewater Homophile Society likely experienced a lot of pushback from the community, but were likely crucial in helping Old Dominion College become a more inclusive and accepting campus by making people aware that gay and lesbian people were on their college campus, and likely attempted to normalize gay and lesbian students. There was no record of an LGBTQ+ student organization on campus again until 1976, when the Gay Alliance was started. The Gay Alliance produced a newspaper called Now That You Mention It. The newsletter discussed political issues such as Anita Bryant, an anti-gay rights movement leader, and ideas for upcoming events. Our Own, the newspaper produced by the Universalist Unitarian Gay Caucus in the area, regularly posted advertisements for events by the Gay Alliance, such as the weekly meetings on Thursday. The community connection of the LGBTQ+ student organization with the religious community is not as common, especially in the 1970s and 1980s. Tom Florney, the president of the Gay Alliance at the time, shared that the Gay Alliance is not an organization of men in hot pink pants who speak with lisps and sport limp wrists, or women who look like quarterbacks. This was an attempt to help curb the stereotyping of gay and lesbian people. They seemed to be acknowledged as a student organization as they were invited to host a ring toss at an event called Monarch Fest in 1978, a Saturday street festival held by the university during which student organizations put on carnival games in a lead up to a men's soccer game. Being at this event provided the Gay Alliance an opportunity to be visibly out, disproving the assumptions that all homosexuals were in the closet at a time, which many of their peers likely believed, and indicated that they were an officially recognized campus group. It also allowed them to better educate the campus community about homosexuality. In 1977 and 1978, the Gay Alliance participated in a campus-wide dance-a-thon, which raised money for muscular dystrophy. They joined multiple student organizations in the competition and raised the most funds. However, in 1979, they chose to withdraw hours before the event started due to unspecified threats, presumably related to their sexual identities. They joined other local organizations annually to help organize the Tidewater Gay Lesbian Conference. However, for the third annual conference, the Gay Alliance president, Donna Motley, threatened to refuse to reserve the space on campus because the Tidewater Gay Lesbian Conference wanted to prohibit female impersonation, often known as drag, as entertainment for the event. She likely advocated on behalf of female impersonation because excluding drag was excluding a group of gay men from being able to attend the event, especially since it was designed to be a safe space for gay and lesbian people. The threat of not having a free space reserved resulted in the Tidewater Gay and Lesbian Conference allowing female impersonation at the conference. In 1979, the spokesperson for the Gay Alliance, J.R. Ellis, joined the Universalist Unitarian Gay Caucus and the Norfolk Coalition for Human Rights in a 2-hour discussion with the local police about police harassment of gay bars in Norfolk, with a focus on the police's definition of homosexuality in the ABC laws, because a quote-unquote known homosexual was prohibited from drinking in bars at that time. While there is no exact end date for the Gay Alliance, it appears to be somewhere after 1982 and before 1989, as the last record was in 1982, and there was no mention of an LGBTQ plus student organization again until 1989. They were actively working to fight for acceptance of gay and lesbian people in the local area. In 1976, while the Gay Alliance was operating on campus, Donna Motley formed the Gay Perspectives and Awareness Alliance. Their goal was to educate the general public about homosexuality. It is unclear if they were in the same organization as the Gay Alliance or a different organization. There is mention of someone named S. Bryant who was graduating and was a member of the Gay Perspectives and Awareness Alliance and shared their membership status in their graduation announcement in the university's newspaper. This shows that students were proud to be members of a gay organization then and thought celebrating publicly was worthwhile. There is little information about the Gay Perspectives and Awareness Alliance, and it is unclear when they disbanded. This was the only time in the history of Old Dominion University through to fall 2022 that there were possibly 2 functioning LGBTQ plus student organizations at one time. After that point, there was a massive gap in the archival material related to LGBTQ plus organizations at Old Dominion from 1978 until 1989. The Gay and Lesbian Student Union was formed in 1989. They were focused on educating the campus on gay-related issues. They held events such as the Coming Out campaign and AIDS Awareness Day on campus. That same year, Mason Crown released an April Fool's Day article making jokes, claiming that the acting department would present a play called The Killing of the Homo, saying that to get tickets, students needed to call 620 quote-unquote fags. Surprisingly, there was backlash. Multiple students wrote articles calling out the homophobia, as well as complaints about the racist joke that was also included. While Mason Crown staff actively denied it during the 1989 school year, some students claimed that the paper chose not to publish letters to the editor and articles from the GLSU. At an event they later held in 1990 was the Lesbian Gay Awareness Week, which had a variety of vendors such as Lambda Rising, a local LGBTQ plus bookstore, and the Hampton Roads Lesbian and Gay Pride Coalition, which exists today as Hampton Roads Pride. They also had issues of students on campus vandalizing the campus with homophobic messages such as quote-unquote, stay in your closets, quote-unquote, kill a lesbian, kill perverts, 1, 2, 3, 4, get back in your closet and shut the door, and a variety of much more offensive messages using the word faggot to refer to the gay students on campus. Most of the graffiti was on walls and left on chalkboards of classrooms of academic buildings. This was blatant and public homophobia that was being shoved in the faces of LGBTQ plus students on campus. The university's response isn't recorded anywhere, and the Mason Crown did not cover it. This suggests a lack of care from non-LGBTQ plus students who likely just saw it as graffiti. Later, the GLSU held an event showing photos of the vandalism around campus to help humanize the gay and lesbian students who were having to see the vandalism regularly. Their biggest opponent at that time was the OU Republicans. The OU Republicans would actively pull flyers for the Gay and Lesbian Student Union. Mel Frizzle, a former member of the organization, recalled being harassed on campus, but shared that he didn't consider it much of a risk at the time. In 1991, ODU updated its anti-discrimination policy to include sexual orientation. In the same year, they hosted Breaking the Ice for the first time. Breaking the Ice was a community event held over the weekend that brought vendors in, offered educational workshops, and hosted an evening dance. It was typically a 2-day event. There was a notable increase in LGBTQ plus visibility in the 1990s. Some of the massive activism was sparked by the introduction of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the military policy allowing gay people to serve in the military as long as they didn't disclose their identity. That activism was quite relevant to Old Dominion University and the wider community, as Norfolk is the home of the largest naval base in the country. In 1992, Old Dominion University created a graduate assistant position for GLBT issues. In 1993, the Gay and Lesbian Student Union was renamed Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual Students and Allies. Definitely a mouthful. Their faculty advisor, the graduate assistant for GLBT issues, Greg Hendrich, worked for the Multicultural Student Services Office. Hendricks recounted information about the GLBSA organization. In 1996 and 1997, they hosted a drag Halloween party, including local drag performers performing for university students. Hendricks recalled that their logo was the pink triangle, a reclaimed symbol by the LGBTQ plus community that was initially used during the Holocaust to identify homosexuals, similar to the Star of David being used to identify Jews. They held a vigil for Matthew Shepard, a gay college student beaten, tortured, and killed for being gay, in September 1998 and again in 2000, with candles and photos of Matthew Shepard. In 2002, they were awarded the Most Improved Student Organization, which suggests that they were a leading organization on campus. They also hosted the Virginia Out LGBT conference at a hotel on the Virginia Beach oceanfront in spring of 2003. Hendricks also shared that the Mason Crown, the university newspaper, wanted students to take photos from the Pride Prom. Mason Crown felt they should highlight the importance of this event as they saw the LGBTQ prom as historic. However, officers of the gay, lesbian, bisexual students and allies felt that a photographer would prevent students who are not out from attending the event. Ultimately, Mason Crown was not allowed to photograph the event. The GLBSA wanted to provide a safe space for students who were not necessarily out. They saw great value in being out and public while providing a safe space for students not ready to come out of the closet. The late 1990s and early 2000s seemed to be the most active time frame for the gay, lesbian, bisexual students and allies group. They had a great balance between fun and educational events. In 2003, the gay, lesbian, bisexual students and allies renamed themselves ODU Out. It should be noted that 2003 was a time when the LGBTQ plus community was encouraging everyone to come out and be visible as they were gaining more public acceptance in the US. President Clinton introduced the Gay and Lesbian Pride Month as a federally recognized holiday, which in 2009, President Obama renamed Pride Month. That decade was also when Lawrence v. Texas went to the Supreme Court, which decriminalized sodomy laws. This likely caused the LGBTQ plus community to see that the more visible they were, the harder it would be for the government and heterosexual people to ignore their existence. There was little archival documentation on that group until 2007. In 2007, they were given a budget of $4,700, almost double the budget received by the LGBTQ plus organization on campus in 2023, without accounting for inflation. Meanwhile, the Military Student Union received $7,000, and the Black Student Alliance received $8,000. This was likely due to the university's disinterest in supporting LGBTQ plus students. They focused on helping the community by participating in Relay for Life, Hampton Roads Pride Out in the Park event, and Rainbow Week. They saw how they could support their community outside the campus because they were members of that community. They also tried to provide educational opportunities by sharing a term of the week on social media, which would teach people about an LGBTQ plus term. They seemed to be aware that LGBTQ plus history had been erased in the past, so they worked on the ODU Out History Project, which focused on highlighting the history from the 1990s to 2012. In 2013, they held the Gender Bender Ball, which was intended to help students rethink how they view gender. In 2014, Virginia legalized same-sex marriage, which ODU Out celebrated. They made a point to highlight how they hoped protection for transgender people would come next. In 2015, a Black transgender woman was killed a couple blocks away from campus. There was an outcry from Old Dominion University students calling out the silence from ODU Out through the Mason Crown, the student newspapers, accusing them of being racist for not making any sort of statement or providing a vigil, leaving their reasoning up for not speaking up to interpretation. In 2019, they discovered the issue with emphasizing being out and renamed themselves the ODU Sexuality and Gender Alliance, or SAGA. This is the organization that exists today and does primarily fun events, but will do important events such as vigils when things happen in the news. This history is quite a rich history for one university's queer history. This suggests that many other universities also have an equally rich LGBTQ plus history that is documented but sitting in files, put on shelves, collecting dust, and being forgotten in the past. Continuing to research LGBTQ history is a necessity due to the historic erasure of LGBTQIA plus individuals and the current political climate of the country with book and DEI bans. I encourage everyone to research their own institution's LGBTQ plus history. Thank you.